Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody who's joining us here this evening. Welcome as well to anybody who might be joining us on the live stream. It is Monday, May 4th, 2026, the time and place for the regular board meeting of the Marshalltown Community School District. We'll do introductions of the board members here this evening. We're going to start with the student school members tonight. We've got Miley Dougal, Audrey Miller-Pfeiffer, and Namade Harmon. Starting with the elected board members, we'll go from my right. We've got Zach Wall, Maria Morales, and Liz Wise. To my left, Leah Stanley and Eric Goslinga. Joining me at the center table immediately to my left is Dr. Theron Schutte, our superintendent of schools. And back from a brief hiatus, to my right is Mr. Randy Denham, our board secretary. Yeah, come on. I am Sean Heitman, the board president. We've got a pink sign-up sheet there on the speaker's table for anybody who wants to address the board during public comment time. You will be given 5 minutes to speak to the board. Please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the district or their job performance. Also, in accordance with board policy, board members will not respond to comments made during public comment time so that we can comply with open meeting laws. Randy, it's been a couple of weeks, but did I get them all?
I'm a little rusty, but that sounds about right.
Awesome. Would you all please join me then in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any changes to the agenda tonight?
We do not.
And is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Stanley Morales? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. All right, Abby.
It's a new table for me, so I'm getting used to it.
I have this one back if you want it.
I did ask Randy if he had to get here extra early so he could beat you out of that chair.
First up for recognitions, we have Hoagland Fourth Grade Leadership and Safety Around Water. The Hoagland Fourth Grade Leadership Team raised $650 by connecting with area businesses and groups to purchase swimsuits and disposable towels for Safety Around Water program. SAW is a program between the school district and the YMCA and includes all 4th, 6th, and 8th grade students. I'll pass over the microphone to them to introduce themselves and talk about this effort.
Hello, Amy Williams, principal at Hoagland. At Hoagland School, we have a 4th grade leadership team. This is our 2nd year doing that. And it's 4th graders who are interested in having an opportunity for to experience what leadership is like and making decisions supporting our school and supporting our community. We rotate. We have a first semester group and then we have a second semester group. They do have to fill out a little application, a few questions. And so with me tonight is...
Hi, my name is Sophia.
My name is Madeline.
So out of our first quarter leadership group, we have Sophia and Madeline. The other ones were unable to attend tonight. And Jennifer August came to us and said, do you need an idea for your 4th grade leadership? And so she gave us an idea to raise money so that kids who don't have swimsuits for the Safety Around Water program or that don't have towels, we could raise money in supporting or in collaboration with some community people. And so Sophia, you want to tell them a little bit about what we had to do with that project?
Well, first we had to make these notes, like for what we were doing and what we were like doing and what we were like saving for what we were like getting. So like yeah, and then if we had to like send the letters to the people, and we sended one to the church and other places, and we had to wait until they send us it. And when they send us it, Miss Williams took us into a meeting and actually told us how much money they sent us. And it was crazy how much money, how they sent us.
Yeah.
And we were surprised.
Yeah, Madeline, and that microphone, you can speak into that one. Once we got the donation, so they gave us a check to support our initiative, then what did we do?
So with that money, we all decided to put together we decided to buy some disposable towels and swimsuits, so the people that doesn't have stuff, we can give some to them.
And then what did our team do? Because we wanted to acknowledge their contribution, their donation. So what did we have to send them?
We wrote them letters, like thank you letters.
Yep, wrote them a thank you note thanking them. And do you guys remember how much money we raised?
600.
I think it was right
500?
at around $600. So hopefully it'll carry on for several years.
What's your guys' favorite thing about being in the leadership group?
My favorite thing is how I help people about like the donations and how we can help our district and getting money and giving like kids things that they don't have. And yeah.
Madeline, what do you love about it?
I like making the project and making stuff for like people that just don't have stuff, so we can make new projects every time.
Nice.
Well, good work, guys.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming to share with us.
Thank you.
Next up, we have National History Day. The board will recognize outstanding student achievement in National History Day. Couple of different projects going into it, but I'll pass it over to Susan Fritzell to talk more about it.
Thank you. I'm really extremely excited to introduce you to just two of our groups today that recently qualified for the National NHD contest. Before I turn it over to them to talk about their projects and show you their projects, I want to provide some background on NHD and why Marshalltown participates in the program. As extended learning program teachers, our jobs, as mandated by the state and you as our employers, is to appropriately challenge our gifted and talented students when their learning needs are not being met through the regular curriculum. As you know, students in our district are varied in many ways and are capable of learning at many different levels. We have a special education program to add supports to bring our slower learners up to proficient levels. Likewise, we have an extended learning program to ensure that our advanced learners are progressing forward at the rate at which they are capable. The gifted and talented students we serve are eager. They grasp concepts more quickly and take content to deeper levels than the average student. Their potential is enormous. It is our job as XLP educators, I'm talking about the 5 teachers in the district, to take each of our students and find a way to appropriately engage and challenge them. There is not a given curriculum or textbook to accomplish this task. Instead, we strive to differentiate for each child in an attempt to find a passion area that they will latch onto and through which they can develop their talent. This is a hard task, but we have discovered a few programs that really engage and challenge our students. One of them is National History Day. Though the contest is the ultimate goal, the framework we use to get our students to that contest is where the true learning takes place. Using many resources provided by NHD, including teacher workshops we attend during the summer, the XLP teachers have infused historical lessons into our curriculum. This year, we started back in September with our students, breaking down this year's theme, which is Revolution, Reaction, Reform in history, and then brainstorming with our students and selecting topics that fit the theme but were also of personal interest to them. Then the digging began. We visited libraries and historical archives, perused the internet for online archives, and conducted personal interviews to uncover the facts behind our topics. By December, students had developed their thesis or historical argument and sorted through their research to find relevant quotes and artifacts to back their claims. They finally then decided on the venue to which to tell their story. It could be an exhibit board, a research paper, a documentary, a website, or a performance. And along with creating their projects, they also needed to document their research through annotated bibliographies, many of which compiled well over 50 sources. And yeah, I mean, if you look at these examples of these guys doing this, this is something you're not going to see often until you're going for your doctorate in college. Finally, in March, we took 53 Lenahan, Miller, and high school students to the district NHD contest held at UNI in Cedar Rapids. From this contest, 39 students moved on to the state contest. At the state contest, 5 of our projects were national qualifiers, but we also had 2 honorable mentions, or alternates, to the national contest, and 2 more projects were finalists. We are incredibly proud of all our NHD students because of what they have accomplished goes far beyond a simple competition. Through their involvement in National History Day, our students learned that success is gained through sincere dedication toward a goal, perseverance in problem solving, and grit. We really have developed self-directed learners. So now I first will introduce Javier. Come on up, Javier Patel. He's a 9th grader, and he's a first-time participant in NHD, and it's amazing. He placed first in the senior individual website category. Do we have a link to his website to show? Did you ever get it? Okay. So you're going to so you won't be able to see his website, but he can talk about it.
Hello. As she introduced me to you, it's my first year doing National History Day, and I chose website for my National History Day project, and my topic was John F. Kennedy's impact on the space race. I dove deep into how he peacefully interacted with the Soviets and moved away from the violent conflicts of this Cold War and into the space race. And I would say that I also touched on how that urgent push to regain U.S. leadership back in the space race increased like American education and just the urgency to bring back U.S. leadership like through education. And I think there's an interesting stat where 23% of juniors in high school in 1961 did more homework, 2 or more hours of homework, than 1957, which was the year that Sputnik was launched, the first non-artificial satellite in space. So I think that just shows the progress that Kennedy made through all those years. And that's what I wanted to show on my website. And then since I'm going to hopefully go on. I'm going to interview an astronaut, Professor Anderson at Iowa State University, to touch on how his personal experience, yep, there we go. So this is my website, my homepage. Yep. And as you can see, this is just the, yep. And then you can go on to the thesis. Yep, enter. Yep. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union sent the first human into space in April 1961. In reaction to this, John F. Kennedy pushed for the moon landing to regain U.S. leadership. This decision was a revolutionary act as it would shift national priorities toward space travel and initiate peaceful interactions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. This act reformed American education, allowing immense scientific and technological development today. So that was like my groundwork of my whole project. And then you can go on to the next. Yep. And then that was, this was the perspective of the Soviet Union itself, as it was told to us to include multiple perspectives in the NHD catalog. And then that was the American reaction to it, of how there was panic and malicious rage because of the rapid progress the Soviet Union was making. And then this was Kennedy's reaction to all of that. He made an address to Congress on May 25th, 1961, where he set a goal of landing a man on the moon before the decade was over, which did eventually happen. But the Soviet Union wasn't worried and just backfired on them. And then this was the second part of my theme, the revolution. It was revolutionary as it shifted the national priorities towards the space travel. You can see. And then this was the peaceful interactions I was talking about, how he led with peaceful means instead of instruments of knowledge, instead of mass destruction. And then although even after that, there was a lot of Americans that were opposed to space travel, and because there was a lot of money being wasted, people said, so there was a lot of pushback. But ultimately, it reformed American education as there was a lot of growth. The National Defense Education Act of 1958 was the biggest act that reformed education, and Kennedy added on to those acts. And this is the graph where in 1961 you can see it's at peak of high school graduates, or around the peak at least. So it just shows that it did great impact. Yep. And then this is the conclusion. We don't have to read all that, but it's just a summary of the whole page. And, yep. And then for my research, I compiled about 65 sources. I started late in October, even though I was supposed to start in September. This was my first year. I was very confused, but she really helped me a lot. She's a great teacher, great leader. She had multiple reads through my bibliography. I can't even count how many times, and it's just been a great experience. Like as a freshman, it's been really boring with all of my classes. I don't have that many hard classes. And this is one of the only side projects that I did which really turned on my brain. And it really made me a better writer too through the bibliography. And I gained more historical knowledge, which I didn't have before. So I think this was one of the biggest things that was great.
And he put time in. He said I was so impressed for a ninth grader, but he dedicated 20 minutes a day, he told me, to doing this. It's just really amazing perseverance and, striving towards a goal. And so I'm so happy when he got that first place, because we, ninth grader, first timer, I had warned him, don't have big expectations, but he did a great job.
Right.
Any questions for Javier?
Why'd you pick this topic specifically?
Okay. I picked this topic because I was really into space before anyways, and I was just talking with my cousin about space, and I realized, like, if I'm interested in this, why not just pursue something in the space race? So, yep.
I love that comment about 20 minutes a day, because I can remember when I was working on my dissertation, of which about 80% of the people that started don't finish. One of my professors' advice was, if you just commit 15 minutes a day and make sure you do 15 minutes every day, you will get it done, versus just saying, I'll save it for the weekend, or I'll do it at night, or whatever. So that's an amazing strategy to pick up at a pretty early age.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also, from the high school, qualified 2 group performances. And I should say the middle school, with Miss Ann Jackson, qualified 1 group performance and 1 group website. She also had 2 groups of students be runners-up or honorable mentions. So the other group you're going to hear from tonight is one of our group performances. They are all juniors coming back for the second time. They competed last year and were honorable mentions, so they were real excited this year to make it, to the contest. They are Josue Corral Coronado, Victor Gutierrez Cruz, Connor Holman, and Jaden Swartz. Their project is titled Death in DuPont: How One Lawyer's Revolutionary Lawsuit Reformed How People Trust Big Corporations. Sorry to the audience here, because they're going to perform towards the front, and we don't have a backdrop. We didn't bring all our props, but we'll just move these chairs aside and they'll give it. They're limited to 10 minutes for their presentation, so you got 10 minutes to hear them. Hey, guys.
You're gonna have to speak loudly because you have to fill the space.
Hello, my name is Connor Holman, and I will be playing Rob Bellot, the main lawyer in our case.
My name is Jaden Schwartz, and I'll be playing Thomas Turp, who is Rob Bellot's boss and main associate on the court case.
My name is Josue Corral Coronado. I'll be playing a DuPont lawyer and a civilian.
My name is Victor Gutierrez Cruz. I will be playing Wilbur Tennant, the person who Rob Bellot is representing, the judge and the CEO of DuPont.
And this is Death in DuPont: How One Lawyer Revolutionized How People Trust Big Corporations. There is poison in the blood of every single person on this planet. Not only people, but oceans, lakes, plants, animals, all are contaminated with a deadly carcinogen. You can find this toxin in almost anything, from fire foam, couches, beauty products, light bulbs, and even this nonstick frying pan. Coated with a substance called Teflon, in which lies a carbon chain, C8, which kills an estimated 400,000 people annually across the world. Most of you are likely unaware of this threat. I was too, until December of 1999, when a farmer from Appalachia brought a box of VHS tapes to my law office door. What I didn't know at the time was that what was on those tapes would start a revolution in how the common American places their trust in big corporations.
Hey there, Mr. Balot. Still working on that farmer's case?
Yes, what he said worried me. And those VHS tapes he sent in showing that strange white foam on the surface of the water and his cattle's organs all blackened and rotting. Mr. Tennant claims that the foam and disease are being caused by some dumped chemicals in a DuPont waste plot near his farm. However, I didn't find any EPA records of dangerous chemicals being dumped there.
You know, I'd be careful with this case, Mr. Balot. I mean, here at Taft Law Firm, we typically protect big corporations from lawsuits like this, not start cases against them. But I mean, if what your client says is true, and DuPont really is knowingly poisoning the town of Parkersburg, then this case could start a revolution in how the public trusts big corporations. I just hope you know what you're doing here, Mr. Balot.
Well. If it isn't that old farmer trying to kick this town down the drain. You know, DuPont is this town. Everyone in this town gets their payroll either from DuPont or from one of the restaurants that feed the people who work at DuPont. Suing them would be like suing the whole town.
I'm not trying to run them out of town. I'm just trying to get them to stop dumping chemicals in the water and killing my cattle.
Man, think about what you're saying for a second. You really think DuPont would dump some mystery chemical in the town's drinking water? Really? Next, you're going to say that once someone finds out the truth, they're going to sue DuPont, and the whole world will rethink how blindly they trust big corporations.
I knew DuPont was poisoning my neighbors and my community. At many times, that offered me hush money, even raided my home to destroy the blackened organs of the cattle I was keeping as evidence. I knew DuPont was powerful, but Rob Balot was doing everything he could to expose their chemical mishandling. Even now, he's trying to set up a meeting with one of DuPont's very own lawyers to see what he can learn and what he can get to let slip.
Hello, Mr. Balot. Mr. Turp, I take it you want to ask some questions regarding that Parkersburg plan of yours.
Yes, he sent in some VHS tapes showing a white foam on the surface of the water, which he claims that DuPont dumping chemicals nearby are causing.
That's very odd, though. I can assure you, DuPont has no involvement with that occurrence. All of our products are rigorously safety tested to ensure that the public receives only the highest quality from DuPont labeled products.
Right, and about those tests, would you mind sending them over to us? We'd like to take a look at them and perhaps show them to our client.
Why, of course. I'll send those files over to you in no time. And speaking of time, it appears I must be off. I'm a very busy man.
We understand. Thank you for your time, sir.
Excuse me, sir. It's urgent. Those lawyers down in Columbus who are investigating our Parkersburg Teflon facility are requesting copies of our toxicology tests for review. If they see those, they'll know that we've been knowingly poisoning the town for decades. And not only that, but...
Quit your prattle. We're not in dire straits yet. We'll send them the files they requested. As long as every single scientific study you've ever conducted, when they see that mountain of paperwork arrive on their doorstep, they'll surely drop the case and beg us to take them back.
A genius trying to gem, sir. I'll send for those files right away.
DuPont had sent us over 900 boxes, containing anything from scientific studies, customer surveys, even health interviews with DuPont employees. It took us, along with another team of lawyers, over a year to search through all the boxes.
But what we found in those boxes was as critical to our case as it was disturbing. DuPont had been dumping a chemical labeled C8, a waste product of PFAS, and a key ingredient in their hallmark product, Teflon, into the waste plots neighboring Wilbur's farm. While they claimed the chemical was harmless, their own internal documents showed that it was known to cause slow growth in plants, kidney, liver, and testicular cancer in rats, and is thought to do the same to all mammals.
I immediately reported the chemical to the Environmental Protection Agency. However, they claimed we didn't have enough evidence that the chemical was harmful. It was clear that the EPA were either incompetent or already infiltrated by DuPont. Either way meant we weren't getting help from the government. After some deliberation, we decided to set up an independent scientific panel to run tests on the population of Parkersburg. It took them 10 years to finalize their results. However, in the end, it was concluded that C8 was indeed harmful to human health. With this data in hand, we set a date for the trial against DuPont, and on September 10th, 2015, a revolution in how common Americans place their trust in big corporations began.
Is the defense ready? Is the plaintiff ready? Great. We will now be hearing the case Tennant versus DuPont. I will now recognize Rob Balot. who will deliver his list of charges.
Thank you, Your Honor. Today I, Rob Belot,
And I, Thomas Turr,
represent the town of Parkersburg, West Virginia. DuPont Dynamores Incorporated, more commonly known as DuPont, has been knowingly poisoning this town for decades. And while the public may only now be realizing the scope of the problem, the companies that manufactured these chemicals have been well aware of the risks for decades, but failed to alert the rest of us. These risks include cancers, mostly of the kidney and the liver, birth defects, and other diseases such as ulcerative colitis. What's more is that when the public drinking this contaminated water finally learned of the problem, DuPont publicly denied that there was any evidence of harm, denying its own internal science.
Objection. The chemical we use to create Teflon, C8, was found to only be dangerous in high amounts, namely 63 parts per billion. Your chemists only found a maximum of 5 parts per billion in the water surrounding the dump site. Therefore, the amount of chemicals released into the water was well below the dangerous limits.
Incorrect. The independent scientific panel found that PFAS exposure was dangerous in amounts as low as 4 parts per trillion. Additionally, in 8 out of 10 of the workers that were tested at your Parkersburg facilities, they were found to have early to advanced cancers. And not only that, but people all around the town are coming up with PFAS-related illnesses.
The verdict is in. The coroner's mandates that DuPont Dynamores Incorporated to pay a sum of $671 million to the people of Parkersburg.
Teflon began as a revolutionary product, with one article from the time calling it domestic perfection. However, it was quickly revealed to have horrible side effects. Once Mr. Chirp and I discovered these side effects and showed them to the world, many began to rethink how quickly they trusted the safety of a new product, with one ABC article calling it a worldwide wake-up call.
At first, people scoffed at the idea that a company would knowingly poison its own company and its own employees for maximized profit. In the 1960s, a similar court case was called Pure Ramblings by a local newspaper. But since the 2015 Tennant v. DuPont trial was broadcast in the news, people all over the world reacted in horror to what a company could knowingly do to its own town. Since then, the Tennant v. DuPont case has been cited in over 15,000 court cases, including the famous Roundup cases, all in all winning over $12 billion in damages to those affected by PFAS.
The case started by Rob Belot against DuPont caused the Environmental Protection Agency to heavily reform its regulations regarding PFAS family chemicals. These chemicals, popularly known as forever chemicals, cause illness and death in hundreds of thousands of people every year. Some experts predict that if it weren't for Rob Belot, those numbers would be in the millions.
The revolution started by Rob Belot, Thomas Chirp, and Wilbur Tennant against large corporations who use their power to poison the planet for profit, caused a worldwide chain reaction in government reform and environmental fervor, and made sure a situation like this would never happen again.
Just say a few words.
So last year we also competed in National History Day, and it was our first year actually competing, and we ended up getting third at state when the top 2 qualified for nationals. And it was only an hour after that where we were already brainstorming ideas for this year's competition because we really wanted to make it to nationals this time. And since the day that we didn't make it to nationals, each one of us have spent many hours every week working towards nationals this year, and we used the skills that we gained last year about quality annotations, researching, teamwork, divvying up responsibilities, and overall we just worked really hard this year to get to this place.
One of the biggest things that National History Day teaches you and really makes sure you learn is time management. because like Javier was saying, if you're not putting in a certain amount of time every day, then a lot of times the project just doesn't get done. And doing this consistent work schedule is very important and something that not a lot of high school classes teach you how to do. And so that's one of the reasons that National History Day is just really helpful in everyday life, helping to develop good habits and that.
NHD has actively prepared all of us for college level work by helping us learn as high schoolers how to do quality research and annotate sources. For most high school students, they will not need to do this, let alone quality research. NHD helps kids learn how to do that, or exactly early on, by rewarding kids who put in more time and more sources, because the more sources and the more information you have on your project, the better it will be. It teaches us where to look, how to check if it's a good source, and how to write quality annotations that not only look good on bibliographies, but also help you to guide you into incorporating those sources into your project. Additionally, NHD helps students go above and beyond simply surfing the web for sources by encouraging us to go out of our comfort zones and set up interviews with people who are actually connected to the event. We did this in our event by setting up an interview with the main lawyer, Rob Balot, that he plays. And we are also planning to interview several other employees that worked at Parkersburg.
National History Day has also given us a skill that many don't learn until their senior year of high school. Being able to effectively convey a message to a large audience is something that many colleges and employers deem valuable. And National History Day has given us the opportunity to hone those skills by allowing us to perform in front of a live audience. Our commitment to public speaking is further highlighted by our participation in Poetry Out Loud in order to practice for National History Day. Our participation in the largest event in the competition will give us an opportunity to perform in front of an international audience and let us truly master this vital skill.
Anybody have a question? How did you choose this particular subject?
I think one of the cool things about National History Day is it really doesn't matter the project that you do, because even something that might not seem that interesting, like a court case about chemical laws, once you actually research something and get deep into it, and especially interview people who are actually a part of the case, it is really interesting. But originally we chose the topic because Connor brought it up to us, and we thought it'd be a really good idea the day of the competition last year. And yeah, we just started working on it.
Okay.
You guys are really impressive, very articulate, very polished, and it just reminds me about how our kids, our Bobcats, can compete against anyone, whether it be at the state or national level. So wish you the best of luck and hope you have a great experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thank you, guys.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. We just want to take a few minutes to recognize our school nurses. May 6th is National School Nurse Day, and a large group, not all of them, are here tonight, but we wanted to come and present them to you, and that way you can put a face to who is working with all our kids as far as their health and safety and getting through the school day regardless of the grade level. And so it was just a nice way to be able to recognize them and thank them for all their hard work that they do with all our kids every single day. Stacy Toole Crawford is our lead nurse for the district. And then I will let each of you just introduce yourselves and what school you're at. That way they can hear you. Okay?
I am Tony Fries, and I'm at Linehan.
Monica Blanchard, and I'm at Anson MLA in Therapeutic Classrooms.
Megan Bell, and I'm at Hoagland.
Emily Sawyer at Rogers Elementary.
Brittany Applegate at Franklin.
I'm Christina Bonzer at Miller Middle School. Just thank you for taking care of our kids.
Thank you for recognizing us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they said this was the first time they got invited to just, I was like, well, it'd be nice just so you can see, put a face to all our school nurses that we have here in our district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next group that we want to recognize is our mental health providers, so our school-based therapists. It is Mental Health Month. May is Mental Health Month, and so we have our 4 school-based therapists that we are lucky also to have in our school district that can provide services to our students. And this year they expanded their services to go beyond just the one particular school that they are housed at, but now they serve our entire school district in the capacity of therapy. So I'll let them introduce themselves too, but also wanted to bring them forward so you could put a face to our therapists that we have in our school district and recognize them for all the work that they do. So.
I'm Autumn Case. I'm at Miller Middle School, Woodbury Elementary, and the high school.
I'm Megan Stein. I'm at the Therapeutic Classrooms, Marshalltown Learning Academy, and Fisher Elementary.
Madison Wilkerson, and I'm at Linehan and Rogers.
Tom Ogston. I am at Franklin, Anson, and Hoagland.
And this year, their services expanded to the other 2 elementaries they mentioned, aside from their home base, due to the Walmart grant that we were able to receive this year, and hopefully are able to fill for next year as a full-time position, so we would be adding a 5th school-based therapist. For now, though, they were hard at work as to develop a plan to be able to serve our students across the district, so we want to thank them as well for that. So. Thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Next to our informational, School Lunch Hero Day on May 1st, the Marshalltown Community School District recognized our food service staff on School Lunch Hero Day. The special day celebrates the dedicated individuals who work each day to prepare nutritious meals and create a welcoming environment for students. Their hard work and care play an important part in supporting student success and well-being. We are grateful for all that they do to keep our schools running strong. And then for this week, it's Teacher Appreciation Week from May 4th to May 8th. The Marshalltown Community School District celebrates Teacher Appreciation Week by recognizing the dedication and impact of teachers across our district. Our educators work each day to inspire learning, build relationships, and support students both inside and outside of the classroom. Their commitment helps shape the success of our students and strengthens our school community. We are grateful for their passion and care they bring to their work every day. And then the last one.
Teacher appreciation.
She just did that one.
Oh, my bad. So teachers get a week, lunch personnel get a day, nurses get a day, but the school board gets a whole month of recognition. So,
And I would also note mental health awareness is a month-long event as well.
Oh,
So maybe
okay.
there's a connection. I don't know.
As is customary, at the beginning of the May and our first board meeting, we thank our school board members for and give sincere appreciation for the devotion that you make on behalf of our students, staff, parents, and community. Your dedication, long hours of service, and commitment to our school community does not go unnoticed. We recognize the time, effort, and leadership required in this important role, which community members have given you the privilege of serving. I think most people are familiar with the meetings such as tonight that happen usually twice a month, but what they don't always see are all the other subcommittee meetings, whether it be school facilities, school finance, negotiations, employee relations. This board commits itself throughout the school year to get into every building for curriculum walks, which Dr. Smith and her team lead. And a lot of you are at a lot of school activities throughout the year as well. The other thing that does not go unnoticed from a statewide perspective is the commitment that this board makes to their own learning. I think for sure 8 of the last 10 years, if not 9 of the last 10 years, you've been amongst a very small group in the beginning and a little bit larger group, but still relatively small in comparison to the whole state of school boards that achieve the Team Achievement Award through the Iowa Association of School Boards, which means at a minimum you commit 15 additional hours of your time to your own professional learning, and for many of you it's a lot more than that. So that being said, there are letters of appreciation or certificates of appreciation at your place, and I'd like to ask everybody here to give you a round of applause.
Okay. Well, we've run out of recognition, so I guess we'll move on to the consent agenda. We've got minutes from the April 20th meeting. Jackie, is there anything to note in personnel?
First up, Principal Plants writes about Tia Anderson, who has been a dedicated member of the Fisher family for the past 10 years. She will be retiring at the end of the school year. And in her role as a special education paraeducator, she has worked with many students, making a positive impact on their education. The Fisher community wishes her the best in all of her much-deserved retirement. And if I can ask Mr. Vanderpool to join me up front. On behalf of Principal Bolivar, I'm pleased to announce that Vic Vanderpool has been offered and has accepted the position of Marshalltown High School Associate Principal, pending formal approval by the board. Mr. Vanderpool joins us from his current role as Executive Director at Gilbert Community School District, where he has served since 2022, following a successful tenure as the principal of Gilbert High School. In his most recent leadership capacities, he has overseen human resources, district-wide safety and security, and the supervision of several district departments, including transportation, technology, and maintenance. His time at Gilbert has also been marked by significant project management, including directing major bond projects and the construction of a new elementary school. Prior to his administrative leadership at Gilbert, Mr. Vanderpool served as the District At-Risk and Student Support Coordinator, where he championed social-emotional learning and mental health initiatives. His extensive background also includes leadership roles in alternative education and student support coordination within the Fort Dodge Webster City, and Clarion Goldfield school districts. With a career rooted in special education, trauma-informed practices, and restorative discipline, Mr. Vanderpool has consistently demonstrated a commitment to equity, fairness, and the development of robust, multi-tiered systems of support. We are confident that his diverse expertise in building administration, large-scale project coordination, and student advocacy will be a tremendous asset to the Marshalltown High School community. Mr. Vanderpool, would you like to share any other words?
Yes. I'd like to start out by thanking everyone for this great opportunity. I feel honored to be selected, and I'm really excited to get going. When I left my interview last week, it's not very often you leave interviews and you're excited and you felt like that was a really great day. But I really had a great day, and there were kind of three moments that stuck out to me. The first one is I got to spend some time with staff. They were asking questions, and I got to engage with them and dialogue with them, and you could just tell how much they cared for students, how proud they were of the high school and the school district, and so that was really encouraging. We left there, and I dropped my bag off at the principal's office, and we went on a tour. And I saw students laughing and having fun in the hallways, heading off to class and interacting awesome ways. And we visited so many different classrooms, and students were engaged with their teachers, and it was just really empowering. And then we got to the CTE area, and I was just blown away watching students build things and make things. And there are not many school districts that have a CTE wing in their building that is doing things like that. It was impressive. And, from there, I had to go back and get my bag, and we stopped in the office. And I was stopped because there was a meeting going on in Mr. Bolivar's office, and I couldn't go in there. A scholarship was being handed out. And I couldn't see who was handing out the scholarship, but I could see the student. And I was watching her face, and I could see her smile, and I could see her smile get bigger. And she was feeling validated and feeling like all of her hard work was really making a big difference. And I think when we talk about school leadership, we often talk about the big moments like bonds and policy and all kinds of things that really are important, but it's also in the small moments that leadership matters too. And so that was a really cool moment. And then I saw Dr. Schutte come out, and it was a cool moment to see that occur. And so a lot of those things happen, and nobody knows it occurs. So I left there, and I just felt so encouraged, and I'm excited to get this opportunity. So thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking at interagency agreements and contracts, we've got an agreement with When You Wonder You're Learning, a speaker agreement for the 2026 MCSD Welcome Back. A quote from Home Rental Center and Sales for several inflatables and games for May 21st, 2026. A contract renewal agreement with Go Guardian for essential device filtering and classroom management for Chromebooks. A 3-year agreement with McFarland Clinic for provision of a certified athletic trainer and physical therapy services for student athletes. And contract with Iowa Valley Community College District for the 26-27 academic year to provide high school students access to college level courses, and a contract with Iowa Valley Community College District for college credit coursework during the summer of 2026. Are there questions about any of those items? Looking at open enrollments for the current school year, we have 2 in, and for next school year, we have 1 in and 2 out. Randy, any items to note in bills or the monthly financials?
There is not.
We have 2 grants or donations. One, a $500 donation from the Art and Cultural Alliance to the High School Art Club, and a $1,000 donation from Pipestone Helping Farmers Organization to support the school district's families with limited resources and food insecurity. And we would like to declare the garage located at 108 South 12th Street as obsolete and have it be so it can be donated to the Marshalltown Little League. questions about any items in the consent agenda? Zach, do you need to abstain on this because of your connection with Little League? Yep. Okay. Then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
That's Wise Gazlinga. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And we have one abstention, so it's 5-0 with one abstention. Nobody's on the pink sheet, so Mrs. Fritzell, you're back up.
Sorry, I wasn't ready. Okay, so just speaking from my heart, a week ago we were at the state contest, and with seeing all these Marshalltown students go up for their awards, I was very excited and very proud. I also had a pit in my stomach. They just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger because I knew this is going to be a big ask. Every one of these students worked so hard through the year and persevered through their struggles. Every one of them who qualified for this contest deserves to attend. I know how this contest and this program has changed lives in significant ways. And so I just really hope we can find a way to get them there, because I don't want to look them in the eye and say, yeah, you're great, you're deserving, you work so hard, but it just can't happen. So I'll go through our proposal. National History Day is an integral part of our XLP curriculum. Starting every fall, the students immerse themselves in their research process of forming historical arguments that they eventually turn into projects presenting at contests. Through NHD, students learn to collaborate with team members, articulate arguments, manage their time, and persevere. NHD challenge and inspires our XLP students to operate at the highest levels of critical thinking and effective communication. These students all qualified for the contest. Jacob Seeberger, Parker Christian, Preston Johnson, Luke Stalzer, Colby Cross, that was the other group performance, plus these guys, Connor Holman, Josue Corral Coronado, Jaden Schwartz, Victor Gutierrez Cruz, and Javier Patel, all from the high school. And not here tonight, but hopefully here next time, Winter Moo, Lydia Beek, Nasa Rodink, Rachel Shear, and Collins Grant from the middle school. The dates of the contest are June 14th through 18th. It is held at the University of Maryland in College Park. At the contest, the students will compete in their specific categories. And it's a big deal. There's kids from every state plus Guam and Singapore. They get to meet these kids from all over the world. They are very much challenged as they compete. It's not an easy contest. Additionally, when we have a little time off, we will try to get them into the city to sightsee. The other group performance, they interviewed the head of the Grange, the National Grange, and so she plans to come and watch their performance at the contest, as well as they're going to go, if they get there, visit her at the Grange. Javier, I can't wait to take him, if possible, to the Air and Space Museum so he can see what he's really been researching. So we can really individualize their experiences for their projects. These students, to get there, we will travel, myself and Mrs. Jackson, hopefully flying from Des Moines to Washington Reagan, or probably it will be Dulles because it's cheaper that way, then take public transportation to the University of Maryland. I believe the two of us can supervise these students. There is a lot of them this year. We'll be staying in the dorms, so there's other History Day folks there as well. And then the cost is outlined below. Questions from you, please?
What's the total cost? I see a per person breakdown. I don't see it.
It's coming, I can't tell you exactly because we don't know what the plane tickets are going to cost. We're going to find as cheap as we can. It will be about $20,000. Where does that money come from? Our XLP budget. We consider this part of our curriculum, and we do scrimp and save during the year. We are not big spenders. We also, I didn't say this last time I was here, but we got a $5,000 grant from Balin Blank last year. So that went into that budget. We didn't expect so many kids to qualify. We had 2-week turnaround here. So yes, we could have done fundraisers, but there's no way we could fundraise that much money in 2 weeks.
And Randy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think annually we typically carry anywhere from probably $50,000 to $80,000 over in that budget. Correct. So we do have the funding to support it.
Yeah, I just added that up and multiplied it out, and just for the high schoolers plus Mrs. Fritzell, it's right about 15,000 based off that budget. That doesn't include the middle schoolers. I just was looking at the high schoolers.
So would the middle school be going too, though? So wouldn't that need to be in
That's another 6, so another $7,000 on top of that.
When I figured it, I thought it was about 25.
Yeah.
25,000.
It's less than that, but again, if you get a plane ticket for $400 versus $700, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Especially with gas prices up right now.
I know. Yeah. We'll do our best.
They are going up fast.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like every year we have some money roll over, so there's plenty of funding.
Mm-hmm.
Do you foresee needing some of this money in other activities coming up or anything else that you can think of?
No.
Is there a reason why there's such a surplus? I mean, do we just not spend it?
It's categorical funding, so it can only be spent for specific purposes. The majority of most of our categorical funds goes for staff salaries and benefits, along with activities such as this for this group of students. So it's just kind of how the chips have fallen the last several years with the way staff salaries and that reach out. That typically takes up 80 to 90% of that budget each year. But the funding is based off of student enrollment and is funded through property tax and state aid. So how it shakes out, we get on average about $500,000 a year in XLP funding, and then that covers staff benefits, salaries, and then activities that students participate in throughout the year.
So yeah, this is really way more than a club. It's part of our curriculum. We don't have a textbook, that usually costs a lot of money. We've kind of taken that material. I have a whole Canvas class, this Just History Day that I've used.
I want you guys to know that we are all very, very proud of you. So this is not a discussion about whether or not, you don't deserve to go. It absolutely has nothing to do with that. So yes. So just when you're hearing all this, I just want you to know that you're all very, very talented and you deserve to be there. So I wanted to say that so that way you didn't, because my kids would be sitting there going, oh my gosh, I just want you to know that. I want you to know how proud we are of you. Mm-hmm. It's a monetary thing, like what parents talk about, right?
So this might not be the point in the meeting where this typically happens, but for a future meeting, I would like to see us have a discussion at the board level about when we have kids in our CTSOs that earn national trips and stuff, and we have what I believe is an inequitable approach to how we fund these things. And I would echo what Liz said. This is not a matter of not wanting our kids to go. It's about being equitable across the board, and CTSOs, in my belief, are also a direct extension of our curriculum. We're required to have them, in fact. as we are with TAG. So when we vote, I'm going to vote yes on this, but I would like to see us come back and visit the broader issue of how we make sure that all of our students, which is part of our mission statement, get the opportunities and that we don't have to ever leave somebody home because they didn't run around town selling enough pizzas or something.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it before, but the difference with CTSOs is, yes, they're required by law, but the legislature gave no money to support them, whereas we have a dedicated budget for this program. And if we were to use some dedicated funds that have historically supported all of our CTE programs through their high-cost equipment purchases, you know, one of the two things is going to give. Either we're going to have antiquated equipment much sooner, or we're not going to have maybe the same opportunities. But it is kind of a new territory for us because, you know, FFA was the first one that kind of started doing the national thing, and they do raise funds to help support that. And now we've got a couple of the other groups that have really taken off within a year or two. And so we absolutely do need to have the discussion and to become more educated on the differences between some of these programs as well.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Very good problem to have.
Is this the biggest number of kids you've taken out there, in my recollection, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
and that's why it kind of took, when I was watching them go up, I was like, this is not good. This is not good.
It's
Yeah.
a very good.
It's
a
good, but
very
it's
good.
not
Very
best.
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Has anybody who would be going on this trip gone in the past? There's a couple of kids. I know, I think I saw Preston Johnson. I know he went.
Preston and Parker and Jacob went last year.
Oh, sure.
They were a group documentary, however, and this year they switched over to a performance. Which is interesting, yeah.
And I'm sure if they were here, they could tell us about what a wonderful experience it was and all that stuff.
Yes, and if you didn't see it, I passed out the
Thank you.
impacts of NHD, and those were, I do make my students write self-reflections after they're done, so that's what they pulled out, and then a few others, you know, from the past. So those were, when I read those were really like, oh, yeah. Of course, there's lots of like you said, all of this is meaningful. We just want kids to have an opportunity to shine. They go so far that way.
Any other questions, comments?
I would also like to have a future discussion, like Eric said, moving forward on how this all works and expectations.
Yep. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request to College Park, Maryland and University of Maryland to participate in the National History Day contest as presented?
So moved. Second.
We'll go Wall, Stanley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, and I know that was a hard decision, and we really appreciate you, and yeah, you guys have a hard job. So I really thank you for the volunteering that you do.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yes.
Stacy, Jennifer, you ready? Probably been ready for a while.
All right, I am Stacy Bergman. I'm the principal at Anson.
I'm Jennifer Jansen, instructional coach at Anson.
When we were talking about what we wanted to kind of showcase, we've done a lot of work this year, but the biggest connection would be the All Means All conference that we did back in the fall. We really connected to that and tried to figure out what systems and supports we could put in place where we are really living and breathing that every day at Anson. And so our commitment is that at Anson Elementary and across the district, we are embracing the message of the All Means All Conference as a guiding focus for our work. So kind of what that means for us is breaking down, making sure that no students fall through the cracks, and kind of creating a system that helps us do that. So I'm going to go over a little bit of what MTSS is for those that don't know, and kind of go through what leads us into what we call our problem-solving system, which Jennifer will be talking about that. So MTSS is a multi-tiered system of supports used to identify students and figure out a plan to support them. And oftentimes we think of it being academics, but it really can be anything. So behavior, attendance, social emotion, we're always trying to collaborate and figure out how we can best serve students to help them be successful. So this system really helps us identify concerns early. And we're lucky too that we already have pieces in place such as PLCs and other works where we collaborate and go over data to help student achievement. The biggest piece is, and we talk a lot about tiers, and the biggest piece with MTSS is making sure that our Tier 1 instruction is quality and robust, because that is what is supposed to support 80% of our students. So I was very lucky to come into Anson because that is something I feel they do really well already, is that Tier 1 core instruction. They have quality materials already in place, veteran teachers that know how to teach that material, and even the new teachers that aren't as experienced have mentors and Jennifer to help guide them in that work to make sure everybody's on the same page. So responding to data, that's entirely what this system is based upon. So we talk about that Tier 1 being the focus of that. So how do we know whether it's working for a student or not? And that is through data. And so a lot of formative and summative assessments. So it could be things like observations, especially when we're thinking that it's not just academics. So building relationships with kids, then some more of those formal pieces of data with assessments and screeners, some really great reading diagnostic data. So based on all of those things, we try to figure out what that student needs and how they're going to be able to close that gap and be successful in meeting those expectations at the Tier 1 level. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is not a linear system. Keep in mind that when we work with this, there might already be students in intervention from the previous year. They might already be entitled or being supported in other ways. So once we kind of are already going with that, we have done an MTSS data day. How many have we done this year? 3? We've done 3 meetings where we pull together core staff and then all of support staff specialists in one room and cover all of the data together. And people come prepared with, if you can see before the meeting, they know what that expectation is in terms of what they bring to the meeting. So that way during the meeting we can really have the conversations as why the student isn't progressing, and then following up with next steps. It's not something that we just talk about. We want a proactive solution to help close those gaps for kids.
Okay, so following an MTSS data day, or it could really be at any time that a teacher is noticing a student is struggling or has any sort of concern, we work through creating, we've had pieces of this in place, but Stacy coming to Anson started the student of concern. And so I just kind of worked to put all the pieces that she was adding to what we already had in place, and just to kind of firm up the whole process. But step 1 just being that, okay, we're recognizing we have a student who has some level of concern. And through that, filling out just a simple Google Doc that basically just lists all of the information. The purpose of it just kind of alerting the support team that there is a concern with the student. It begins that documentation process. Also notifying all stakeholders just to make sure that we're all on the same page with this and we all understand what's going on with the student. And then moving forward with what are the next steps? What kind of support does that teacher need to begin?
And it's important to note too that when we get to this step, the experts in the room have already done everything within their power and toolbox that they can for that child. And so this is kind of reaching out to the next level. We've done all we can, and we still have a concern.
So from there, I would reach, if it's an academic concern specifically, I would reach out to the teacher, see if they need to touch base, if there's anything that ways I can support. But then the teacher would move forward in just documenting all of the different things that they have been working on with the interventions, with the general education plan. If the student is an ELL student, one of the things that we've been working we recently had training from Steve Gill and using the ELL critical data process. It is a tool that helps our teachers to kind of think through our ELL learners and just kind of identify all of the characteristics that we need to be aware of that learner. We know that all ELLs come from very different backgrounds and have a lot of different characteristics that play into their learning. And so we just want to be sure that we're very aware of those things. Through that, looking at the data, at the academic skills gaps, are there any behavior concerns, any engagement challenges, collecting all of that data, considering different strategies that have been used, the frequency of the intervention, and then monitoring that. The other piece that plays into this too is we have a new AEA rep, and just with some of the different changes with the AEA, we are working through when do we approach that person as a support person. And so that was part of just kind of getting our ducks in a row and making sure that we're working through this process before we reach out to that person. So, yeah. And then once we have all of our data collected, I would just kind of check in with teachers, or if it's a behavior situation, our counselor will check in and collaborate. But then that's an opportunity where we go back to what Stacey talked about with the all means all and breaking down those silos. And we would bring in all, stakeholders like our title teachers, our ELL teachers, our nurse, the counselor, even our specialist teachers, because we know that the academics and the behavior can be in those areas as well, but just reviewing what is the intervention, what's working, what are our trends, are there any adjustments, do we need some more time on this, or are we ready to move forward? And is it the next step would be, if we could go on, the next step would be where I would just move forward to contact the AEA person. So then once we connect with the AEA person, that's where she'll review all of the different documentation that we've put in place. She can ask any questions to clarify questions. If she's not seeing enough data, she'll say, okay, can we run a couple more weeks on that intervention? Or because our ELL critical data process piece is something new, she might follow up on some questions with that. It's a huge process, but it's just, we just felt that we needed to have some sort of roadmap just to kind of keep us in track so that when we do need to back up a little bit, we know, okay, where to go forward from there. But
our kind of first step or intervention or decision that we make as a team isn't always successful. So, and we've seen a lot of success with this system. I can think of tons of kids off the top of my head. One just came to me today, a fourth grader that made huge gains with a reading and was so excited, came with the teacher and computer in hand. And it's a student that has struggled, and he was really proud of his work. Another child in a different grade that struggled with some behaviors, he's now on kind of a hot streak for meeting his goals. And so that was with a lot of different interventions and stakeholders to finally find something that works for him. So it's just, again, going back to that all means all. Every child's different. What do they need academically, behaviorally, and things like that. So what questions do you guys have for us? This is also an ongoing process. Up until this meeting, I messaged Maria and said, do you download this, or is it a link in case you want to make changes? Because we are forever talking and trying to better the process. So it could change in a week again as well as we add and improve things.
And this is just a high in the sky perspective of all that goes into the whole MTSS piece of it. We're really just looking at kind of the piece of bringing all the stakeholders together for the all means all, and then this is really just the problem solving part of it, because it's also just in the daily instruction piece too.
Well, you kind of answered my question. It was going to be, is it working? Right? And
Yes, we feel that it is. Like I said, it can always be improved upon, so we'll keep looking and really go over data once we get final scores in for academics. Behavior, I can tell you that's been a very glaring improvement in a lot of areas and grade levels. So it is working, and we're excited to keep going. The biggest piece when I came there, it was a very strong team, just very broken apart. So you could go to each grade level and there's strong teachers, go to interventionist rooms and they're strong as well, but it was bringing them together to figure out how to work together. And so we've done a lot with culture and climate too, of the school for the students and the staff on top of this work, which I think has helped. And we've had a lot of positive comments from staff as well, like thank you for including us, because they have important information to share. So everybody that has been a part of the process is the reason why we are seeing success. So.
And that's probably where we'll continue to move forward as far as for next year, is just how do we continue to enable those and support those support staff people, and how do we look at our schedule and think creatively and how we can get all those people at the same table to be having those PLC conversations, the MTSS conversations on a regular basis, ideally more than 3 times a year. And so always room to grow. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Lydia, Melissa.
Okay. So we have just updated our schedule request and course change procedures. Previously, schedules were not released until the summer, and students submitted change requests while counselors were off contract. This created a high volume of last-minute schedule changes right before school started and often continued the first 2 weeks of school. As a result, teachers did not have stable class rosters, which made it difficult to begin instruction effectively and resulted in several classes being canceled, which caused more stress on teachers and students. With our updated process, schedules will now be released in May with a defined 5-day review window for students and families. Students who wish to make a change will submit their change on an updated Google form, and then counselors will have 2 weeks to meet with students and verify that their change meets some valid reasons, such as a student may be missing a required graduation course. They may have an incomplete schedule due to an error in master schedule, or that they didn't get a requested course on their schedule. After that window, schedules will be finalized by the last day of school. And after that, at the beginning of the school year, there may be extenuating circumstances, such as a student wanting to add or remove the 3DE program. They didn't complete a summer school class, so they may need to add another class in there. Or they might need to add or drop a dual credit course. And so we're really hoping that this new shift will allow us to be more proactive than reactive in helping students with their schedules. It's going to ensure that schedules are finalized. So it reduces last-minute disruptions for students and staff. Any questions?
The schedule itself, like the school day, you're not talking about changing anything for that. We're just talking about, I do appreciate that you are pulling this up because I would say has gotten progressively worse I have a child who's graduated college and a child who's at the high school now. It's been progressively worse over that period of time, so I do really appreciate you guys looking at this and bringing it up earlier in the school year to be able to address these things prior to summer break instead of like kind of radio silence and everyone scrambling at the beginning of the year. So I think this will be better both for the students, for the counselors, and for the teachers.
Yes, that's our hope.
How do you see this playing out with incoming freshmen?
So right now, Rachel Meckley over at the middle school, she's actually, well, to back up a second. So we are kind of officially done working on the master schedule as a whole. And so now we have a couple weeks here where the individual counselors are working through schedules. So Infinite Campus projects out a schedule for each kiddo, but there's always like error in there or conflicts. So there might be a class up against something else. And so now counselors take about 2 weeks to work through each student's schedule to make sure that we get the least amount of conflicts. And so Rachel Meckley is going to be working over these next 2 weeks on the incoming 8th graders' schedules. And so she will be meeting with those kids and kind of going through the same process that we're going to be doing at the high school to ensure that they have a really good schedule.
But next year she'll be at the high school, right?
Sure, she'll be at the high school.
So,
well, and so we.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
being a middle school person myself, they generally don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
Even if it's, so.
Well, and
You guys did their course requests, though, correct?
Yep, we
so
do.
So you went to Miller.
Yep, we went to Miller.
Sorry,
That's
I didn't mean
okay.
to scare you. That's fine.
Good. Yeah, counselors went to Miller to help with the course registration process. And I can foresee that we, like last year, since I have the 9th graders this year, the counselor at Miller, we had like a shared Google Doc. And so when kids would request changes, I would be at the high school making those changes. And so we have pretty fluid communication that I think we'll still be able to provide help for the students and their families. And the Google form that we're going to use, parents can fill it out, kids can fill it out, regardless if they're currently at Miller or at the high school.
Well, the good thing is there's probably the least amount of flexibility with freshman schedule.
Yes.
So there isn't like
There's not a
a
lot
lot
of
of
wiggle
choice.
Yeah.
Just like the freshmen that shared earlier, how they didn't have much flexibility with their freshman schedule. Yes, I think the Miller counseling team will support, as they have in the past. We're just trying to navigate this new approach that we're taking this year, and we don't want to put on more work for our 8th grade counselors either. So we're also trying to navigate, even though we're saying Rachel is coming and helping, we're also going to have to balance that, because although she is transferring over to the high school, we still want to respect Miller's work that they need to finish up for the school year. So the work is going to be very limited, and then so the counseling team at the high school will work with them to see how we can support them through that process for the incoming 9th graders. So make sure that was clear.
Any other questions, comments? I agree with Leah. I mean, I think I've only had one kid go through the high school so far, but I like this. Right? And she didn't have a whole lot of changes she wanted to make, but it was like, you just never knew, and yeah. Yeah. This is on as an action item, I believe. Randy, don't you?
It looks to be marked as an action, so I'm assuming that's what it was intended for. I didn't add this to the agenda, so I wasn't sure of the background on it. But yes, we can act on it tonight if that's the intention.
Whatever the board's comfortable with. I think our original intention was to present and then at the next meeting take action. I'm sure the high school would appreciate action sooner than later so that they know they can get moving.
Move forward with this. How are you going to share with parents, students that this is the process and the procedure now?
Yep, so we're hoping that tomorrow it'll go out in our high school newsletter. And we're right now projecting that we'll release on May 18th, and students and families will send out communication on Parent Square.
and our daily announcements to students and families about just the process and access to the schedule change request form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else from anybody?
And this is the only thing changing in the handbook, so we're only approving this change, correct?
Yeah, they'll come back with other changes later.
Right. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't want to wait until the next
I wouldn't
meeting
want to wait
give
till the
them-
next meeting to give them the okay to do it when they're, cut it a little close. So is there a motion to approve the MHS Student Handbook schedule request and course change procedures as proposed?
So moved.
Second.
Morales, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
You're still having early morning, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Girls, you're up.
Hello. So last weekend we had prom. I attended. It was so fun. I loved it. Tickets were sold the 22nd and 24th. Students received a memento keychain instead of a ticket, which was really cool. Tickets are $20 and seniors get in for free. Tickets for the pancakes and pajamas after prom will also be sold at $10, $15 at the door, and a 90% attendance rate was required to attend.
Hey, roughly how many people would you say attended the prom?
Probably. Did you go?
Yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah,
people there. It
maybe
looked like a
like-
zoo. It was crazy.
Like 80 people?
Oh, there was
I don't
more
know.
than that.
Maybe more. I don't know.
There were over
Were you there?
250 tickets sold. Because my mom's on boosters. My mom's on boosters, and she was writing down the tickets. I think it was over 250, but there was a lot of people in the aux gym. It was crazy.
After prom was at 270.
Oh, 270. Okay. So yeah, even higher than that. That's crazy.
Wow.
It's a lot of kids. Good stuff right there. Good stuff.
The MHS Health Fair, Tuesday, May 5th, that's tomorrow, 9 o'clock to 12:30. The school will hold the health fair in the roundhouse behind the west bleachers. Students will be able to visit many booths from MCC, the YMCA, Prairie Ridge, and more. There are many prizes that the student can win, like a YMCA day pass and Walmart gift card.
For those of the students who are interested in driving a semi, there is a CDL driving simulator coming to MHS on May 12th from 10:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. This event will take place outside the Roundhouse Gym near the drill sculpture. This is a great opportunity for students to learn about earning their CDL and try it out using the simulator. They'll also learn about the training and tests that are required to receive their CDL. Spots are limited though, only 20 students per time block. Okay, for NHS. So NHS inducted our new members on April 22nd. Our next meeting is tomorrow, and we will gather in the library, and those running for office, including me, will be doing their speeches. Subsequently, voting will take place. Service sheets are due May 15th, and along with the end of the year, the chapter will come to a close.
Students interested in learning about a career in skilled trades can sign up to attend one of the upcoming MCC experiences. During these trips, they'll see firsthand what the programs look like, meet MCC instructors, connect with current students, and participate in hands-on activities. Academic and attendance requirements must be met to qualify for these trips.
Okay, so this is just a grade mental health check reminder for parents, for anybody watching. I know we have some parents on the board right now. It's coming, our year is coming to a close. I know right now I have senioritis and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dragging butt right now. It's really bad. And I'm gonna be honest about that because it's rough. But we just wanna make sure grades are up, check on your kids, make sure morale is up for the end of the year because we all wanna finish strong. And May is Mental Health Month, so please check on your kids. We have 17 days left for seniors, so any seniors watching and any parents of seniors, 17 days left before your child graduates. And I'm not counting. And then for grades pre-K through 11th grade, we have 22 days left from today. Or maybe that was last week, I don't know. But yeah, again, make sure your grades are up because nobody wants to be stuck inside over the summer. So stay away from summer school as much as you can. And then for our Bobcat athletics, baseball's first day of practice is today, so yes, go baseball. Girls soccer is having a game tonight down at our very own Leonard Cold Field against South Tama County. Boys soccer had a game this last Friday against Fort Dodge. They were in Fort Dodge. They won 8-2, which is super exciting. Girls track had their conference meet tomorrow here, so go out and support. It's their big conference meet, so whoop, whoop. Boys track has a meet tomorrow in the afternoon at the Dodger Stadium in Fort Dodge. Girls golf has a tournament at Ames today at the Veenker Memorial Golf Course. And the boys tennis has a meet against Pella today at the Pella Courts.
Aren't like cheer tryouts coming up as well?
Yes, cheer tryouts are also coming up towards the end of the month. Clinics will be held, I think it's the 27th to the 29th, and then the 30th is the actual tryouts.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So next meeting will be your last meeting with us for the year. Miley, you're graduating, we think. We haven't approved the graduates yet, but.
My grades are still
But we
high.
think.
It's not going to help her mental health.
You're right. You're right. Would you, in your presentation next year, include a little bit of information on what you're planning to do after high school?
Yes, I will.
You two don't have to because you got another year of high school yet. So
Okay.
you're welcome to if you want to. But. Okay.
More than happy to do that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you been sitting behind that column the whole night?
The whole time.
Oh, wow.
I told her we'd be more early on in the meeting than this, so maybe this is still early on, though. So we're here. I think everybody has met Anna Marie. We're here to talk about something called owner-provided, owner-installed items, and that would be items that are on the district's plate to install at Miller Middle School. A lot of those are systems that are kind of extensions of platforms we already use, which is why they get pulled out of the project, to ensure that we can get something like or equivalent, or the thing or equivalent to the system that we're trying to install, so it can be similar so that our teams can manage them. So we already know what we're doing. We've worked with certain vendors. So when a project gets over $196,000 threshold, it actually becomes a capital improvement project. So some of the things you'll see me bring to you will be items that are more regular. Here's a couple quotes, and we need approval moving forward. And then as they get bigger like this, we actually need to employ an architect, which luckily we already had one who had already done a lot of work on this, to do the big projects. So this one specifically is talking about the security system, which would be door access, where you use badges to unlock the doors, and then security cameras as well. So that would be one of the projects. And then the other one would be audio enhancement, and that's Bell's intercom paging notification system. So those projects both individually were big enough that they qualified for a capital improvement project. So we still need to work with an architect to help us through this process. So that's kind of as much as I know. If I said any of that wrong, Randy or Anna Marie, let me know.
So Amy reached out to us. As you know, Envision, Boyd Jones' team were already on the project, already intimately involved in all stages, and reached out to our team to then provide a proposal that you're seeing here for us to provide that additional work. Essentially, that is items that you had mentioned. And that would also be one of the benefits that I would like to say is that we already have gone out to bid. And so we can use some of the documentation, specifications, and drawings that have already been produced and coordinated to then just fold this into another additional bid package. So there was some benefit there from bringing this into the project at this time. Additionally, this will just help support the school. So I think just asking you guys to approve us for adding this service to the project.
So the service we're asking for is in addition to what we've talked about, and this might be where I'm saying this right or wrong. Randy can improve me or can tell me, but the projects overall are part of the budget. This is a change order to ask. No, it's not.
So
there we go.
So built in, Boyd Jones had built into the budget owner provided portions of the project, this being one of them. So what's being approved tonight is, as Anne Marie stated, that envisions cost for that, which is again part of what's built into the construction budget as part of the owner provided cost. It was just carved out separately because when Boyd Jones built the budget, during those design conversations, as Amy mentioned, this is a specific set of the project that has certain requirements in that, to where putting it out with the general bid packages may have resulted in unfavorable bids to the district or unfavorable specifications that didn't meet Amy and her technology needs. So that's why it was carved out. So that's why you're seeing it put in front of you. But as Amy mentioned, per Iowa bid laws, it is over that $196,000 threshold. So we have to treat it similar to the other bid packages, bid it out. There'll be public hearings coming up within the next couple of meetings for that as well. And so this is the first step in this process, is getting the approval of Envision to provide the architectural services that are required by law for this portion of the project.
Questions? Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the design and preparation documents from Envision for the owner-purchased, owner-installed projects as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Wise, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thanks.
Do you anticipate this stuff going in phases, or will it all go in towards the end of the project, or?
There's a couple different approaches, and we've worked with a MEPS team called Modus that are pretty good. We think we'll buy the bulk of the equipment ahead of time as it works out for the warranty. So as long as that warranty doesn't start the day we buy it, and we can push that until it's installed. So there's some text that's really speaking to the warranty about how we buy those items. But the goal is to buy the equipment so that we can try to lock in some prices sooner than later. And then, of course, it won't be installed till as the phases go along. But the hope is to have all of the access control working when that phase is finished, and all of the audio enhancement working when that phase is finished. So
Classroom setup, everything.
there we go.
I think also just to mention, in purchasing that all at the same time, the technology then's the same. As you all know, this is a long project. We're looking at a long construction time in multiple phases. So that then means that all of the monitors and things like that will all be of that same era, as opposed to, as you know, technology changes every 3 seconds. So that will help as well. Make Amy's life a little easier.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Anna Marie.
I assume you're Jeff.
Wow.
My name is Jeff Moats. I work with Iowa Environmental Services. Trying not to kill myself as I sit down. I work with the school district for environmental compliance with rules, specifically here for asbestos. I'm here to recommend the award of a contract for the Miller Middle School asbestos abatement for over the next 4 years is what the work is scheduled for. Everybody, I think, should have a copy of the contract that we've got. So, questions?
Is this work that would be completed again by phase?
Yes, it's scheduled. The majority of it will be this year, with 50% of it being over the next 3 after that. It goes to 2029 for the last phase.
Will this abatement happen while there's students in the building?
Everything that we have scheduled right now is tentatively scheduled for summer. If there is anything that happens during the school year, it's areas of the building that would be closed down and not accessible to students.
We do have summer school during portions of the summer, so.
And we will be on site doing air sampling and testing
Yep.
throughout that whole process. So there will be plenty of protections in place as far as the specifications go.
Jeff, are you who are you with?
Iowa Environmental Services. We're just
Okay.
a consulting company. We worked with the school district. I think I started working with the school district in '88.
Okay.
So I'm very familiar with the buildings.
Todd, I guess I'm not familiar with how we go about acquiring such services. Is this something that we have to take bids on? And
For our work, you're
Yeah.
talking about, usually we've just
straight contract?
Straight contract over time.
So there were 5 proposed bidders, only 2 came in to bid. And this is an owner-operator.
Yeah, this contract would be between Earth Services Abatement and the school district. We just did the design portion of the work and put the bids out for specification, and do air monitoring as needed for the school district.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions, comments?
So who won the bid? Who's doing the work?
The low contractor was Earth Services and Abatement. They're out of Des Moines. They were the one of 2 that submitted. Like Todd said, 5 contractors requested bid documents. 3 showed up for the actual walkthrough of the project. two submitted a bid.
The original budget was 250,000 and it came in at 72,229.
That's good news.
For once, I'm not here trying to, having a very different conversation, so. Miller's gone, the history of Miller, it's gone through a ton of renovations, obviously. The biggest one was, I think the last one was a window replacement project that they did, which took care of a lot of asbestos at that time.
Was that part of the 2005 renovations?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when this is all done, the entire place will be abated.
Yeah, they're all known asbestos materials that we've been able to identify will have been taken care of in Miller Middle School.
Anything else from anybody? If not, is there a motion to approve the contract for Miller Middle School asbestos abatement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Wise, Guzlinga. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, Randy, what do you got?
This feels weird not doing it from my recliner. So on the agenda next is the 25, 26, our current year certified budget amendment. So as we finish the 26, 27 certified budget, which you guys have been hearing me talk about ad nauseum for the last 3 months, that's in the rear view. So as part of that process, we also we review the budget for the current year as well. So if you recall, when we're setting the budget, we also have to set our total expenditures for the year by the 4 functional areas: instruction, support services, non-instructional programs, and other. So as part of that review process, we'll try to update the current year, because when we're setting the budget, we're essentially setting it, almost 18 months in advance sometimes, and a lot of things can change, obviously, in that time frame. So we try to true things up as we work through that process. So you'll see in front of you tonight is the proposed budget amendment for the current year budget. At this time, no needed increase for the instruction functional area. Support services, looking to increase that by 5.6 million due to some coding corrections. So when I was doing the budget last year, and as what came to light during the audit was some new staffing in various departments as well as within our office, there were some items that were coded to the wrong function. Wasn't an impact on the bottom line of the financial statements. It's just how it's recorded and reported to the Department of Ed in our reports each year, as well as what shows up in our audit and some of our budget reports. So had to change and adjust for that. And then there was also, we've had a large increase in some repair costs this year with just various, we have older buildings, things falling apart, and a buildings and grounds crew that's working really hard to get those things up to speed on a lot of areas. The next one was the non-instructional programs. That's an increase of about 1.3 million. That's based off of early estimates. So for our audit each year, we have to book what's called an other post-employment benefits liability based off of our census data of our employees, what health coverage they have, and then it calculates a liability. It's not an actual cash out expense per se, but it's an expense that by accounting standards we still have to book on the books, basically saying that in the event the district were to shut down today, this is what we would owe our staff for their post-employment benefits. So I generally like to call it just a made-up number, but it is to an extent. because I don't feel like the school district's going anywhere, but it's just a liability that we have to book. So that's that adjustment for that. And then other expenditures, we've been doing a lot of construction, and it's a moving target at all times. So about another $2.5 million of increase there for the budget on that. So in total, $9.4 million of a budget increase. This is not new taxes that it's levied. It's just we're adjusting our expenditure estimates so that we can finalize that and have a clean audit in that area. With that, a public hearing is required. So we'll be looking to set the public hearing for the May 18th meeting.
I have a question on the coding corrections.
Yep.
So if we're correcting something, it had to have been in the wrong, those dollars were somewhere else. So is this like those to me would be a negative in one place and a positive in another, but that's not what it sounds like.
Yes and no. So all school districts have to abide by a certain chart of account codes. So for the Iowa Department of Ed gives us a 77-page document that we have to code everything by. All expenditure codes are 21 numbers long. Each number means something. So there's a 4-digit function code. So we had some things that were getting coded to a 1,000 instructional function code, say, instead of a 2,600 maintenance and repair function code. So things like that. So, I mean, to your point, yes, it's within the budget, line item budget itself, yes, it's a negative in one area, a positive in another, but on the bottom line, it's a zero impact as far as what's reported in our budgets into the state. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I would expect, that it's a zero, but then where is it coming out of? If you're moving it into this bucket, it has to be coming out of a different.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're saying on this.
Yes.
Yeah. I could have done that, but just to kind of keep that cushion and not get the slap on the hand audit comment, I just left it as is because we've already certified the budget, so those expenses are already there. It's what we've published in the paper, so this is just adjusting that, hey, where we underestimated, I need to increase that. But if I've already overestimated it, I don't typically bring it back down because it's just what we're publishing in the paper and what we're reporting to the Department of Management. But it's not, I mean, this is what we budget. That's not necessarily what we're going to end up spending per se at the end of the day, right?
Does that answer your question?
It's an accounting exercise. That's really probably the best way to sum it up. So.
I think a little bit with current school finances, trying to get that as close to what we think we're really going to spend without being under, and showing if we're putting something like a coding correction as the reason, I would like to see a negative somewhere else to show that the coding,
That was offset. Yeah.
that it's offset somewhere.
Any other questions?
Okay, so I also have a question about repair expenses and the increases in repair costs and making sure that we're trying to correctly budget for those moving forward, understanding we have a lot of old buildings. And so how do we make sure that as we're looking at this in our budget, we're not getting hit with unexpected repair costs, or we have some other things that would be temporary items that could fall out if something else came in?
For the most part, I do try to work with all the directors on, we've talked replacement cycles on various things. Now, obviously, some of those larger items come out of that PEPAL save budget. Obviously, if the boiler breaks, you got to fix it, right?
Right, exactly.
You can't avoid that. And so we look at various things. So we have those conversations. We'll look at historical trends and kind of where we're at. I think now that we have some more specialized staff on hand, we've been able to do more things in-house to where we're not having to service out some of those repairs. Obviously, one of the budget reductions we made was the purchase of the break fix insurance, so that's going to shift some of those costs. So that this number will look different next year. You know, those types of things all go into those conversations. But yeah, we tend to try to be proactive as much as possible. I would say a lot of the increases that we've had this last year has been due to the change in leadership and being more proactive in addressing those items instead of just basically waiting until it's completely broke. And then in that case, usually it's kind of a catch-22, or Murphy's Law is going to kick in and everything's going to break all at once. So I think some of the more proactive, so we've seen a spike, but based off of conversations and trends that I've seen, I expect that to trend back down now that we've kind of gotten everything somewhat caught up and kind of back on a routine again.
Thank you.
Yeah, literally today, Todd had reached out to Randy and I about setting up a meeting to talk with a roofing consultant about such a cycle based on the current condition of our roofs, which we didn't have as good a handle on as we should have. Boyd Jones is supposed to have a deliverable here pretty soon on their assessment of all of our facilities, and once we have that, not only will it help give some direction to future capital projects, but it'll also, I believe, help our buildings and grounds team figure out how to prioritize certain things, like, for example, besides roofs, tuck pointing and things like, how do we build that into just what we do annually versus wait till there's a hole in the dike and then, wind up with a bigger problem type of thing.
Yeah. Yep. Good. That's the approach I'd like to see us take. So.
Anything else? Okay. The action item then is to set a public hearing for Monday, May 18, 2026 at 5 p.m. and direct the board secretary to publish the budget amendment. Is there a motion to do that?
So moved. Second.
Morales, Wise. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. You could have come, you didn't have to stop walking, Jackie. You could have come up and sat down.
I've been sitting down all the time. Always keep thinking I'm going to bring my stand-up desk in here for some of these meetings. But it was really great at the beginning with all those kids. See all the work that they're doing. All right, good evening. I'm here to talk about some salary recommendations for our meet and confer groups of employees. And I think I went to the wrong page. First group is the administrative team. We did talk about several different items and finally came to a conclusion that we'll stick with a 2.29% increase on salary to match what the MEA is currently been approved to receive, which results in a $152,904.54 expenditure for the increase on those salaries.
Questions about this item? Okay, then I need a motion to approve the 26-27 administrator meet and confer an increase, a total cost increase of $152,904.54. That's 2.29%.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Gazlinga Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
The next group is for our other hourly and administrative assistants, so that's actually two different groups of employees. Also asking for the 2.29% increase for the administrative assistants. That would be, not sure what that amount would be on that base. Randy, do you know? It results in a total of $33,170.28. For other hourly, and this is, for example, would be staff who are in the business office or the HR office, their increase also is 2.29% for a total cost of $48,298.36. This group also asked that the registrar, who is currently an employee considered in the group of administrative assistants, to be moved to other hourly. Because the registrar is a unique position, she doesn't act like an administrative assistant. She has a lot of training and is very specialized in the type of work that she does. When they're in the other hourly, just a little bit of more for some flexibility with salary that we use the Iowa Workforce Development to determine some wages there. Also, earlier the board approved and that the mechanics and the skilled laborers be moved out of buildings and grounds. And we've gone through the legal process for that. So when that was done, we want to make sure we keep them whole. They had some benefits like any licensure that they were required to have in order to operate in the district. We have paid for that licensure. They get it, but we pay for it. When they have to work second shift or they're normally on first shift, there's a differential pay. So we didn't want to create a deficit for them just by moving them into another group. So that kind of language would be moved into the appendix for other hourly so that they would continue to receive those benefits, even though they've been moved out of the union. And again, we did most of that so that we had the flexibility to adjust their wages in order to appeal to some applicants to take positions like HVAC, which I don't think we have HVAC yet. Do we have HVAC?
Yeah.
Which one do we? Oh, the plumber. It's the plumber that we don't have yet. We have, so we're getting there, but we want to be able to appeal to other applicants so that we can fill all of those positions. So in the end, the total of the 2.29% for this group of employees is $81,468.64 increase, including FICA and IPERS.
That's the total for both the other hourly and the administrative
Correct.
assistants, right? Yeah, okay. Questions? Okay, then we need a motion to approve the 26-27 other hourly and administrative assistants, an increase of 2.29% for a total cost of $81,468.64. And to move the register to the other hourly group and update Appendix F with regards to longevity and differential pay for mechanics and skilled laborers as presented.
So moved.
So moved. Second, sorry.
Stanley, Wise.
It's late. No, what was I doing?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
I feel like I should put Maria down instead.
Motion carries 6-0.
The third group is the other salaried. These are positions like some of the positions in the IT department, systems administrator, the attendance coordinator, which works at the Welcome Center, works in our offices. The ELL coordinator works at the Welcome Center, so it's a variety of different positions. Again, the 2.29% wage increase for a total of $34,909.52. As discussed at a different meeting, we discovered that this employee group was only receiving a maximum of 20 hours, so we're proposing that they receive the same 20 days, that they receive the same 25 days of vacation, a maximum of 25 days as other employee groups get for a maximum. And so we just have those two requests for this group.
Questions? So does that bring everybody up to a consistent
Correct.
Vacation accumulation?
Maximum of 25 days, correct.
Is there a motion to approve the 26-27 other salaried meet and confer, a 2.29% increase for a total cost of $34,909.52, and to allow vacation days to accumulate up to 25 days per year as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Morales, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
The next group is transportation, which includes all of our bus drivers and bus monitors. Again, the 2.29% increase, including FICA and IPERS. For bus drivers, that will be a 25-cent increase on the step for a total of $17,709.24, and 23 cents on each step for bus monitors for a total of $4,856.06. In addition, there was a request, and we'd like to grant that the activity trip rate change from $17.50 an hour to $18 per hour. So the total costs for this increase for the transportation department would be $22,565.30.
Questions?
Is this the same 2.29?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the 26-27 transportation meet and confer 2.29% increase for a total cost of $22,565.30 and to increase the activity trip rate to $18 an hour as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Wise, Guzlinga? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Last one.
Last one for today, certified substitutes. We have two different groups of substitutes. We have some that are full-time substitutes, 3 at elementary, 1 at each of Lenahan, Miller, and then 2 at the high school. They started about 3 years ago, and I'm asking today that those who have remained with us, there are no new full-time substitutes at this as of today, that we increase their salary from $155 a day to $160 a day. If for some reason we had to bring on a new full-time substitute, they would remain at $150. Teacher substitutes are currently receiving $145 a day. They are part-time employees. They're at-will employees. They can work any time that they choose to select a job. I'm asking that we increase I'm sorry. Yes, I am asking that we increase that $145 a day to $150 a day. When they have worked 400 hours, they currently receive $165 a day. I'm asking that increases to $170 a day because we are competing with the local other school districts, and sometimes they get mad because they have to do training for us, and they say they don't have to do training for the other districts, but we want everybody to be well prepared and covered with all of their trainings when they're working with our students. So we do have 74, but that doesn't mean that they substitute every day. Again, they get to substitute when they want. And finally, the long-term sub rate is determined, it's currently $184.34. That will change with the increase in the base pay of that 2.29% that we already negotiated with the MEA.
Questions?
What's the rate for the other schools? Do we know that?
At West Marshall, I think it's like closer to 180.
It's 130 at East Marshall.
Did you say 180 at West Marshall, Jackie? Okay.
And it gets, I mean, you go to the Metro, it's bigger. So we have substitutes that go all the way to Ames to substitute. I mean, they can pick their pleasure. They can pick their favorite teacher. They can pick their favorite day of the week. I know I used to have a sub that would always pick a early morning teacher. Why? So they get done at 2:30.
Yeah, historically, we've typically paid pretty favorably compared to the surrounding districts, so we'll want to stay on top of that.
Right, that's why just a little bump here, get us a little closer.
Randy, do you have any idea what the costing is on?
No, not in front of me. I mean, give me a few minutes, I could pull something up, but I don't have it in front of me.
How many, and if you don't know, it's fine. How many do we have that go over that 400 hours in a year? Subs.
Well, every time you have somebody coming for somebody who's out on maternity, you're gonna hit that 400. I can think of 2 that every year get it at the high school right away. It's limited, and how many get, because that's 8 times 50 days, 400. Or excuse me, I did the math wrong. No, yeah, I did the math right. I am a math teacher.
I just pulled up last month's board report.
And there's still probably a large number of vacancies every day when you look at SFE and our attendance rate.
We budget about $500,000 to $600,000 a year for sub cost.
Was there a reason why you decided to bring this to the board? I mean, are you having a problem with substitutes? Is that why?
You mean getting the substitutes?
No, yeah.
Yeah, we again, most of them are retired. Unfortunately, we've had some teachers who resigned recently who, whatever they're doing in between, in lieu of teaching, have already signed up to be substitutes next year. So that's great that they want to stick with us. It is hard to get substitutes. It's really hard to get long-term substitutes to fill in for those, especially for those pregnancies. So in some cases, they're piecemealing that together for 6 weeks, which is not good for students to have that inconsistency. So yes, it is hard to get somebody who can commit to 400 hours a year. Because, and in the winter, it's even worse because they're going south to enjoy the warmth. So it gets really short. So yes, we want to do whatever we can to try to entice them to.
So if you hired a new full-time sub, they would be $150 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Current returning full-time subs would go to 160?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't.
From 155? Or from 150?
Most of them are at 155.
Oh, 155,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and just to point out too, I think we might have one of those who is a certified teacher. The rest of them have just a sub authorization, so they do not have teacher training.
Oh, okay.
That changed when we started having the shortage of teachers, when the BOE allowed that sub authorization for holding 60 college credits. Were you going to ask a question?
So the second half of this, which temporary employees serving as a teacher. Okay. I'm confused about the second 150 that's in this line
So
and what we're trying.
there's two times when there's a time when the rate will change. So they all start at 145. I'm asking to bump that to 150.
Yep.
Then after 400 hours, they currently go to 165. I'm asking to bump that to 170.
What if they are starting at 160 because they're a returning sub?
Those would be the full-time substitutes.
Those
Right, Jackie?
Those are permanent employees.
Those are permanent employees.
That are
Already,
In the first bullet.
So then, how does if they're not permanent employees, but they are just subbing whenever they want, how does that even out?
Well, the full-time employees have other benefits. They have sick leave, they have personal day, they have insurance. The second group do not have any of those things. They're part-time employees.
Okay.
Even if they were to sub every single day, they're still considered a part-time employee. But I believe they can earn IPERS after so many hours too, right?
If they earn $1,000 in 2 consecutive quarters, they can start earning hypers.
I would like to stay competitive, but with all of the things that we need to think about with budget, I worry about just making changes and adding costs without, yes, it's hard to get subs, but is it, so that's just my concern. It's just.
Jackie, do you know when the last time we increased sub pay was?
That was before me, about 3 years ago.
It's been a while.
Full-time subs, that we did something last year with them, just like all other employees. But the regular subs, I believe, was the last time Nora was here.
Right, that's what I was thinking. It's been several years.
I think we've made small increases twice in my 10 years here. Like $5 or $10 for day. We need to do what we need to do within reason to try to continue to have ample subs, because if we don't have ample subs, then we put more on the backs of the teachers that we have, which then leads to stress and burnout and that sort of thing.
And we do have a process so that teachers can use their plan time to cover classrooms, but then what are they giving up? Their plan time, and they do get paid to give up their plan time. And you will see a lot of those come through, especially at the high school, where people are giving up their plan time. And that contributes, when they give up their plan time, then now their work-life balance gets imbalanced because they got to plan somewhere.
So on average, how many open spots do you think you have a day that you cannot fill?
I think that we only get to 50% filled.
Okay.
And the number changes every day, so I can't really give you that number, but I'm looking at the fill rate.
But is that 3 spots or is that 30
It changes every day.
spots?
It could be 30 spots. It could be 100 spots. It depends. We're coming into May, and all of the personal days are everybody's panicking. They want to use their personal days. There are some that are already being denied because there's too many people already taking personal time that day. And so you can't really, you want people to be able to use the personal leave, and so then you've got your Fisher, for example, and you've got 5 teachers out of the building. Well, they only have 23 teachers there. When you have 5 teachers gone, who's covering that? And maybe you get 2 subs, so it might be 3 there, but then you got 9 other buildings where there's absences. So 9 times 3 could be 27. The high school, there's 100 teachers there. So I'm sorry I'm being evasive on the exact number, but it's about 50% across 400 some teachers when there's absence.
I guess, to my mind, there's 2 components here, right? There's the full-time subs who are full-time employees of the district. There are, 7 of them? 3 in the elementaries, 1 at Lenahan, 1 at Miller, 2 at the high school. Your proposal would be those 7 people, if they all return, would get a $5 increase.
Which
right?
is about a 3% raise.
Right? Everybody else, just temporary substitutes, right? Non-full-time employees, not employees of the district on a full-time basis. They are employees of the district, I understand that, but would get where are they at currently, Jackie?
145 a day.
145, so a $5 increase for them. And then the over 400 hours is at 165 currently?
Currently.
Okay. I mean, I think there's the full-time employees, every other full-time employee of this district has gotten an increase. Yearly. Right? Even, I mean, we've done it with the Teachers Association. We just approved a whole list of meet and confer groups. I assume in 2 weeks, you'll be back to ask us to approve the negotiated contracts with our remaining bargaining groups, right? Yep. So to me, the full-time employees should receive an increase in pay just like every other full-time employee of this district. you can, I guess you can have another discussion about the other part-time employees, but it's been 3 or 4 years at least since that rate got increased as well. And when we increased it then, it was with the idea to try to stay competitive with our neighboring districts. And it sounds like at least one of them is outpacing us.
Yep, and they tell us all the time.
I'm not advocating for getting to 180, I'm just saying, so.
Oh, and some other districts it's gone even higher. If you're a teacher who retired from the district and you come back, there's some districts who are paying $200 a day for the retired teachers from the district to come back and sub. So there are ways that you can be creative, but it's going to cost, right?
So I would like to see us find a way for those full-time subs to you've got to keep these things kind of lined up a little bit here, but I would like to find a way that they get included in somehow in one of the other groups so that they're always getting that same % increase as what the rest of our full-time staff are, if they are full-time staff, even though they're full-time subs.
Other salary?
Other salaried, sure. They're salaried, even though they get $150 a day. Their days are figured out and divided over 12 months. But yes, other salaried, absolutely.
Yeah, they get a contract, so.
As I sat here and did a little figuring a moment ago, even at $170, if a sub works 7 hours in a day, they're making less than $25 an hour, and they have college degrees. You know, we're not going crazy here with 170.
No. I don't think. And they have to get to 400 hours before they get to 170. Right? Well, I think this is reasonable. I don't have any problem with it myself, but I'm only one person, so. Are there any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Then is there a motion to approve the 26-27 substitute teacher compensation as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Morales, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Abstain. I think I need to.
I think you do.
Oh,
because-
actually, I maybe need to abstain. I need to abstain.
Okay.
So I can't second.
We need a new second then.
Yeah.
I'll second.
I was like, oh crap.
So that's Morales, Gazlinga? Okay, now, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And then we have 2 abstentions, right? So that's 4-0,
Yep.
2 abstentions.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Policies.
We chose to bring the right policies before you this evening. I have 3. 303.10, Associates to the Superintendent, Directors and Supervisors, Qualifications and Appointment. 303.11, Administrative Cabinet. 303.12, Building Principals and Associates. All 3 of those we're recommending be marked as reviewed.
Any questions? Hearing none, those will be marked as reviewed then.
Oh, it's me.
That's you.
All right, I got Board Policy 314.01, Administrator Voluntary Early Retirement Incentive Program. We are marking it as reviewed, no changes. Policy number 400, Role of Guiding Principles for Employees, marked as reviewed, no changes. And Board Policy 401.1-E, equal employment opportunity grievance form, marked as a review, no changes.
Are there any questions for Liz? Okay.
You weren't going to recommend retroactively applying that administrator retirement back?
Maybe one could motion it, but you might have to abstain.
Might have to.
Those will be marked as reviewed then. Abby, anything additional for communications this evening? Next meeting. Okay. Committee reports?
Yeah, Sean and I were at a couple together. The Marshtown Auditorium Foundation recently, last Thursday, had a meeting. Probably the biggest news is, they've had a goal of raising $700,000 towards the improvements at the Performing Arts Center, and they're at about $560,000 raised. So they gave permission to move forward for the district to move forward with the bidding process, going out to a competitive bid because they're confident they'll get that funding and they have the funds to carry it until that time. And that's for the AV equipment, the lighting being revamped, new curtains or draperies, and so Jose's been given direction to renew the original quotes he had for the draperies. They've already put new smoke hatches in there, which was a safety issue that they wanted to address. And then we also had an ACER meeting, intergovernmental meeting. A lot of stuff was shared there. I would say the common thread with city, county, school district, and maybe college was the unknowns regarding the impact of the property tax reform. So I think everybody had a little bit to say about that and about budgets and that sort of thing. The city had a lot of things that they were excited about between the Main Street project, moving ahead of schedule, hopefully getting most of the water plaza completed by the time Ragbri gets here. They're making commitments to put a lot more money than in the recent past into curbs and codes. And then at the next meeting, they'll be starting to move forward on whatever they need to do to get their portion of that GLOW path going. And I know that their portion of it's a little bit more challenging than ours because of what they have to do relative to that park being in floodplain. And then also with a bridge involved and having to meet whatever specifications you have to do there. But I just talked to Kelsey at Park and Rec today, and she said they're moving forward, I think, with an engineer at the next council meeting. MCC was really excited about the continued growth that they've had at their campus, which has led to some challenges with housing. In the short term, I think they've acquired some housing. I think they acquired or using what Emerson used to use for some housing behind the mall there.
We still use some there.
Yeah, and while they try to figure out how best to build more housing on campus, and they added men's and women's bowling. Iowa State University Extension is excited to do STEM camp again through generous donors. Every year we've been able to provide the kids both in Bobcat University with STEM camp experience, and then also other students that aren't part of Bobcat University too.
Lego Ed kits that Emerson volunteers to use those this summer as well. So I think really enjoy.
Is there anything I missed that? Nope. Any other committees meet? Probably not. We're getting to the end of the year. Yep. Reminder, Zach, you've got initial review policies for the May 18th meeting. If you have not already done so and you plan to attend graduation, RSVP to Pam Ferris at the high school, right? That's who I sent my email to.
Yeah, or you can send it to me and I'll forward it.
I already sent mine, so I'm good.
I already sent mine too.
Okay. I heard a couple items earlier about for future board agendas around. So, anything else anyone would like to see on a future agenda?
I mean, obviously at some point, and I know this will be on a future agenda, but the impact of all of the tax reform.
Yes,
that
I agree with that.
conversation.
Yep. I mean, no one expects you to know the answers a day after they passed all the legislation. Andy.
Well, and
Well, of
it is
course
my
we
first
do.
day back too, so I just deal with
Welcome
a few
back,
other things.
Randy.
Yes, that is on the docket for sure.
Best
I
time ever.
said future.
Well, the good news is they did not do anything to the levies. So
good.
that was the good news, that we know of. It could still be in the standing bill at the end of the session, but we'll probably have Piper do some calculations
Yeah,
for
I'm
us.
sure Piper's working on calculations already for districts, so see what comes of that.
They at least made sure to include the extensions so that if we have to refinance and stretch that those payments out over a longer period of time than the original 20 years, at least we can do that.
At a higher interest cost.
Well, and it's going to delay other capital projects from happening sooner, which is going to cost more too, so.
Okay. What have we done this evening to improve education for the students in Marshalltown?
So I'm going to go back to the very beginning. I really love that we're teaching the elementary students they are learning about community service and giving back to their communities and being parts of their community at such a young age, because we need those kids to grow up and be doing that in their local communities. And so I just thought that was amazing.
We also have another set of fourth grade leaders who did a college visit recently over at MCSD. So if you're not supporting the local community, they're thinking about their futures in fourth grade.
Nice. Approved a couple of contracts with Iowa Valley for college credit classes for our kids. And they didn't mention it, but part of the reason their enrollment continues to increase out there, I think, is because of the number of high school kids who are taking classes out there. Jackie, am I right about that? Yeah.
But they don't need housing for them.
They don't need housing for them. No. No. Anything else from anybody?
But it was refreshing to hear from Mr. Vanderpool, his perspective, having visited the district both in, I happened to, as he said, I saw him as he was departing and I was getting ready to leave and I just asked him how his day went. And I mean, he was just raving about the friendliness of our kids, our staff, and then he was just completely blown away by both the facilities and the curriculum offerings that our kids have to choose from. And, he's coming from a district that's pretty well off, and he's been in other districts. He's seen a few districts, and so it was just encouraging to hear that.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Wise Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.